Good morning, students. So, today in this session, we are going to discuss about features of planning. So, in the previous session, we discussed about the planning. What is planning? So, planning is deciding in advance what to do, how to do, and when to do. It bridges a gap between where we are and where we want to be. Okay. So, not only this, but also we studied about the importance of planning. So, why planning becomes very important. So, under that, I told you that planning provides direction. So planning helps in directing regarding the work which has to be done in the organization. Then planning reduces the risk of uncertainty. So when the things in the organizations are properly planned, the things in the organization are properly planned, then it reduces the risk of uncertainty. So you predict the future and you take necessary measures to reduce those uncertainty. So it totally reduces the risk of uncertainty. So the third one was planning reduces overlapping and wasteful activity. So when the planning is done in a proper manner, it totally avoids the confusion and misunderstanding that may occur in the business organization. So it provides a proper clarity of work, like what kind of work should be done in the organization and who has to do it. So when this is done in a proper manner, the overlapping of work is totally reduced, and also wastage of activities is totally eliminated. Okay. So the next one was planning promotes innovative ideas. So when the manager keeps planning for each and every activity in the business, when a manager keeps planning in each and every activities for each and every activities of business, then it implement or it brings up a new idea or innovative ideas in the minds of manager. Why? Because planning is a function which is required in each and every level. It may be top level management or middle level management or lower level management. So planning is required in each and every levels of management. So the person who is a manager has to keep planning every now and then. So when he keeps planning every now and then, there are chances that the person who is a manager comes up with innovative ideas into the business organization. The next one was planning facilitates decision making. So under that, I told you that planning helps the manager to look into the future and make a choice from amongst various alternative course of action. So he gets a proper idea regarding what are the decisions which has to be taken. So you have various alternative course of action. So those alternative courses of action has to be taken into consideration, and the best option or the best one has to be selected from the alternative. So this, well, that is planning helps to have or take a proper decision in the organization. So the last one was planning establishes standards for controlling. So when coming to planning establishes standards for controlling, it is like each and every organization will have a specific standards. Each and every organization will have specific standards or goals which is fixed by it. Okay, so this planning, it helps establishes standards for controlling. So controlling becomes very important in each and every function. So planning ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರು there is certain amount of control which is required. So planning provides the goals or standards against which the actual performance is measured. So by comparing the actual performance with the standard performance, managers can know whether they have actually been able to attain the goals of the organization. Suppose if there are any deviations in the organization, it can be corrected. It can be corrected in a proper manner. So that is why it is said that planning establishes standards for controlling. Okay, so today's concept is features of planning. So what is the features of planning? So since planning is a primary function of management, or planning is called as a basic of management. Yes, it is the first function of management. So as it is a primary function of management, they have to set their objectives first. So planning ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವೇನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ, we'll have to set objectives. So first you set objective and then you plan regarding how those objectives in the organization can be achieved easily. So thus all business follow a set pattern of planning. So all business follow a set pattern of planning. So each and every business will have certain plannings of its own. So in your day-to-day life, what you can do is like you can find some similarities in the features of planning. Yes, okay. In your day-to-day life, you can find some similarities in the features of planning. Like there are chances that the plans which are put by one person may be put by some other person also. Okay, so business, they follow a certain set pattern of planning. They follow certain set pattern of planning. So a pattern of planning will be followed by the business organization. Yes. So coming to the first feature of planning, the first one is planning focuses on achieving objective. Planning focuses on achieving organizational objective or achieving objective. So the organization, like I told you, each and every organization will have certain objectives which is fixed by it. Okay, so each and every organization will have certain set of objectives which is fixed by it. So what the organization has to do is like it has to see that those objectives which is fixed by the organization has to be achieved. Those objectives which are fixed by the organization or which are set by the organization will have to be achieved. So planning focuses on achieving that organizational objective. So in organizational objective ಇದೆ ಆ organizational objective ಅನ್ನ ಅಚೀವ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ organizational objective ಅನ್ನ ಅಚೀವ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ planning help ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. Planning totally focuses. So we are planning in order to achieve that goal or objective. So ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು objective ಅನ್ನ ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಆ objective ಅನ್ನ ಅಚೀವ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಪ್ಲಾನಿಂಗ್ ಟೋಟಲಿ ಫೋಕಸಸ್ ಆನ್ ಅಚೀವಿಂಗ್ ದಿ objective. So specific goals are set out in the plans along with activities to be undertaken to achieve the goal. So certain specific goals are set out in the plans along with the activities to be undertaken to achieve the goal. So this planning is purposeful. It is purposeful. Planning has no meaning unless it contributes to the achievement of predetermined organizational goals. So ಅಲ್ಲಿ organizational objectives ಅಥವಾ goals ಇಲ್ಲದೆ, ಎಸ್, ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನಲ್ಲಿ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ಗೋಲ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ದೇರ್ ಈಸ್ ನೋ ಯೂಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಎನಿ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ಸ್. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ಸನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ಪ್ರಯೋಜನ ಇಲ್ಲ. ವೈ? ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಿವೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಿವೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದಮೇಲೆ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದಟ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಅಚೀವ್? Yes, it becomes a very big question mark. What is that you are going to achieve without objective? ಟಾರ್ಗೆಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡದೆ ಏನನ್ನ ಅಚೀವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಸೊ this one planning, it focuses on achieving objective. So objective becomes very important in an organization. Yes, okay. So planning, it works in order to achieve that objective. So it contributes to the achievement of predetermined organizational goals. So planning has no meaning unless it contributes to the achievement of predetermined organizational goals. The second feature is planning is a primary function of management. Planning is a primary function of management. Planning is a primary function of management. So like I told you in your previous class while I was explaining or giving introduction on planning, so I told you that it is the first function of management. So each and every management starts, or each and every activity in the organization starts with a plan. So ಇವಾಗ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್ ಶುರು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಥವಾ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಅನ್ನು ಸೆಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅನ್ನೋ ನಾವು ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಬಾಕಿರೋ ವಿಷಯಗಳನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಹೊರತು ಯಾವುದೇ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೆ ಬಾಕಿರೋ ವಿಷಯಗಳನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿ ಅಥವಾ ಸ್ಟಾಫಿಂಗ್ ಅನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿ, ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಅನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿ, ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲಿಂಗ್ ಅನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಎಸ್, ಸೊ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಎಸ್, ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನು ಬೇಕು ಅದನ್ನು ತರ್ತೀವಿ, ಆರ್ಗನೈಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ರಿಕ್ವೈರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಮೆನ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಮೆಟಲ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಮೆಷಿನ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ತರ್ತೀವಿ. ಎಸ್, ವಿ ಗೋ ಆನ್ ವಿತ್ ಸ್ಟಾಫಿಂಗ್. ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾರಿ ಔಟ್ directing. The employee in the organization will have to be directed regarding what are the things he has to do in the organization. So after directing, you have to control the employee. So you have to see that how the employee in the organization is doing, whether there are any deviation. So if there are any deviation, then those deviations will have to be corrected. Okay, so planning lays down the base for other functions of management. So planning is a base, it is a foundation for other functions of management. So if the planning is not effective, is the planning is not effective, so obviously the other functions of management will become ineffective. So planning effective illa andmele baki iro functions ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅದು ineffective ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So all other managerial functions are performed within the framework of plans drawn. So ಏನು ಪ್ಲಾನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ, ಎಸ್ ಏನು ಪ್ಲಾನ್ಸನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ ಅದರ ಮೇಲೆ ಬಾಕಿ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ಸನ್ನು ನಾವೇನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಪರ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಆರ್ ಯು perform those activities which within the framework of the plans drawn. So ಏನು ಪ್ಲಾನ್ಸನ್ನು ಹಾಕಿರ್ತೀವಿ ಅದರ ಫ್ರೇಮ್ವರ್ಕ್ ಒಳಗೆ ನಾವೇನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಬಾಕಿ ಇರೋ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜರಲ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ಸನ್ನು ಪರ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಆಲ್ ಅದರ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜರಲ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಪರ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಡ್ within the framework of the plans drawn. So thus planning precedes other functions. So planning is the first or primary function, it precedes the other function. So this is also referred to as the primacy of planning. Yes, this is also referred to as primacy of planning. So the various functions of management are interrelated and equally important. Various functions. So which are the functions of management? Planning, organizing, staffing, directing and controlling. So the various functions of management are interrelated and equally important, So however, planning provides the basis of all other functions. So planning, like I told you, it acts as a basis or foundation for all the other functions of management. So planning is a primary function. Yes, planning is a first function upon which or the other managerial functions work on the framework of the plans done. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಪ್ಲಾನ್ಸನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಅದರ ಮೇಲೆ ಬಾಕಿ ಇರೋ ಏನು ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅದು ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ದೇರ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಎ ಫ್ರೇಮ್ವರ್ಕ್ ವಿತ್ ಇನ್ ವಿಚ್ the other functions of the management will have to act. The next one, the third one is planning is pervasive. Yeah, so what is pervasive? Yes, so pervasive is like it is universally applicable ಅಂತೇಳಿ ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ನ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಮಾಡೋದಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಆಲ್ ಪರ್ವೇಸಿವ್. ಸೊ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಆಲ್ ಪರ್ವೇಸಿವ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಇಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ಅಪ್ಲೈಡ್ ಎನಿವೇರ್. ಹಾಗೆಯೇ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ಲಾನಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ ಪರ್ವೇಸಿವ್. ಸೊ ಪ್ಲಾನಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ ಪರ್ವೇಸಿವ್. ವೈ? ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಪ್ಲಾನಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ ರಿಕ್ವೈರ್ಡ್ at all levels of management. It may be top level management, middle level management or lower level management. Planning is really required at all levels of management as well as in all departments of organization. So ಯಾವುದೇ levels of management ಇರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಯಾವುದೇ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಪ್ಲಾನಿಂಗ್ becomes very important for each and every levels of management and for each and every department of the organization. So it is not an exclusive function. So you cannot skip planning. ನಮಗೆ ಪ್ಲಾನಿಂಗ್ ಬೇಡ, ನಾವು ಆರ್ಗನೈಸಿಂಗ್, ಸ್ಟಾಫಿಂಗ್, ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ನಾವು ಪ್ಲಾನೇ ಮಾಡದೆ, ಎಸ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ಪ್ಲಾನೇ ಮಾಡದೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸಿಂಗ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಸ್ಟಾಫಿಂಗ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲಿಂಗ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಅದನ್ನು ಯಾವುದೇ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೆ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕಾಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವೈ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಸೆಡ್ ದಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಆನ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಕ್ಲೂಸಿವ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ of top management nor of any particular department. So it cannot be skipped anywhere. Yes, ಅದನ್ನು ಯಾವುದೇ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಕಿಪ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಆ್ಯನ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಕ್ಲೂಸಿವ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್. ಬರೀ ಟಾಪ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟಿಗೆ ಮಾತ್ರ. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಕ್ಲೂಸಿವ್ಲಿ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಫಾರ್ ಟಾಪ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಅಥವಾ ಲೋವರ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾತ್ರ ಪ್ಲ್ಯಾನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅಥವಾ ಮಿಡಲ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾತ್ರ ಪ್ಲ್ಯಾನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಇಲ್ಲ, ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಆನ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಕ್ಲೂಸಿವ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್. Yes, so it can be used in any management that is top level, maybe middle level or lower level, or in any department. Okay, so the scope of this planning differs from different levels of management. That is, The scope of planning differs at different levels and among different departments. So ಹೇಗೆ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಥವಾ ಅದರ ಸ್ಕೋಪ್ ಏನಿದೆ, it differs from one department to another department as well as from one levels of management to another levels of management. So for example, the top management undertakes planning for organization as a whole. Yes, as a whole. Okay, so the middle management does the departmental planning. Middle level management in ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, departmental planning ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. At the lower level, day to day operational planning is done by supervisors. Yes, okay, the lower level ಅಲ್ಲಿ supervisors ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಅವರ ಡೇ ಟು ಡೇ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ಸ್ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಥವಾ ಆಪರೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ? ಸೊ ಟಾಪ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಮಿಡಲ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದು ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಲೋವರ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಅವರು ಅವರ ಡೇ ಟು ಡೇ ಆಪರೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದು ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಪ್ಲಾನಿಂಗ್ ಡಿಫರ್ಸ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಒನ್ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಟು ಅನದರ್ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆರ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಒನ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಟು ಅನದರ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್. ಎಸ್, ದ ವೇ ದೇ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದಿ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ಲಾನಿಂಗ್ ಡಿಫರ್ಸ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಒನ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಟು ಅನದರ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಒನ್ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಟು ಅನದರ್ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್. The next one is planning is continuous. Planning is continuous. Yes, so planning are prepared for a specific period of time. Plans or planning is prepared for a specific period of time, maybe for a period of month, yes, or for 3 months, that is quarter ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, half yearly ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ yearly ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು. Yes, okay, so at the end of that particular plan, at the end of that particular plan, there is a need for a new plan to be drawn on the basis of new requirement. Yes, so plans are prepared for specific period of time. ಒಂದು ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕ್ ಪೀರಿಯಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಟೈಮ್ಗೆ ನೀವೇನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ, ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ. ಅದು ಮಂತ್ಲಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಕ್ವಾರ್ಟರ್ಲಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಇಯರ್ಲಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು. ಬಟ್ ಎಟ್ ದ ಎಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಇಯರ್ ಆರ್ at the end of the period, there will be a need for a new plan to be drawn on the basis of new requirements, on the basis of new requirements and future conditions. ಅಥವಾ ಅದರ ಏನು ರಿಕ್ವೈರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ ಅಥವಾ ಫ್ಯೂಚರ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ತಕ್ಕಂತೆ ನಾವೇನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಬ್ರಿಂಗ್ ಅಪ್ ವಿತ್ ಅ ನ್ಯೂ ಪ್ಲಾನ್. ಸೊ ಹೆನ್ಸ್ ಪ್ಲಾನಿಂಗ್ ಈಸ್ ಅ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್. ಪ್ಲಾನಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್. ಓಕೆ, so it means that the plans are framed, it is implemented and is followed by another plan. Yes, a plan is framed, it is implemented, it is followed by another plan. So it is a planning cycle. Yes, a planning is totally related with planning cycle, or continuity of planning is totally related with the planning cycle. So how it is related, in the sense, it means that a plan is framed, it is implemented, it is followed by ಒಂದು ಪ್ಲಾನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದನ್ನು ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಆ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ನ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಫಾಲೋ ಅಪ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಅದು ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ದ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಪ್ಲಾನಿಂಗ್ ಈಸ್ ಫ್ಯೂಚರಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್. ಪ್ಲಾನಿಂಗ್ ಈಸ್ ಫ್ಯೂಚರಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್. ಪ್ಲಾನಿಂಗ್ ಈಸ್ ಫ್ಯೂಚರಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್. So planning, it essentially involves looking ahead and preparing for future. So I told you planning is nothing but deciding in advance. It is nothing but looking ahead and preparing for the future. So you concentrate on the future. Yes, you decide in advance regarding what has to be done. The purpose of planning is to meet future events effectively to the best advantage of an organization. So it is very important for an organization to predict what may happen in the future. Future ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ನಾಳೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಥವಾ ನಾಳೆದು ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಥವಾ ಒಂದು ತಿಂಗಳು ಕಳೆದ ಮೇಲೆ ಏನು ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ನಾವೇನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಪ್ರೆಡಿಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಎಸ್, ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದ ಪರ್ಪಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ಲಾನಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ ಟು ಮೀಟ್ future events. So what you do is like you predict the future regarding what may happen, and you work in order to reduce those problems or things, or you work in order to achieve that particular target. The purpose of planning is to meet future events. So our future events ಏನಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಮೀಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ತುಂಬ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಇಟ್ is nothing but peeping into the future. You are just peeping into the future and deciding regarding what are the things which has to be done in order to cope up with the situation, or how to meet the future events. Yes, so planning is regarded as forward looking function based on forecasting. It is regarded as forward looking function based on forecasting. So through forecasting, future events and conditions are anticipated. Future events and conditions are anticipated. Future events and conditions are anticipated, and plans are drawn accordingly. So what you do is like you forecast the future events and conditions, and you draw the plans according to that particular future events. Yes. Okay, so this is what happens in future. So in planning, you totally concentrate on what is going to happen in the future. Yes, you try to meet the future events in the best possible manner or in the best possible way. The next one is, that is the sixth one, is planning involves decision making. Planning involves decision making. So in the importance also, I told you that planning, it involves or it facilitates decision making. Yes, planning, it essentially involves choice from among various alternatives or activities. So the organization will have different alternative plans. Yes, our organization will have different alternative plans. So what an organization can do is like it can select that particular plan which is feasible or economical, which can be applied in the business organization. So ಯಾವ plans ಅಲ್ಲಿ feasible ಇದೆ, yes, ಯಾವುದು effective ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, the plan which is economical and feasible can be taken. So when you have different kinds of plans, what you do is like, or what you can do is like, you can select one best plan among those alternatives. So if there is only one possible goal or a possible course of action, there is no need for planning. There is no only one possible course of action, there is no need for planning. ಅಲ್ಲಿ planning ದು requirement ಇಲ್ಲ. Why? Because there are no choice. ಅಲ್ಲಿ choice ಇಲ್ಲ. So ಯಾವಾಗ ನಮಗೆ alternatives ಇರುತ್ತೆ, yes, when we have alternatives, you have to make proper decision. So simple ಆಗಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಯಾವಾಗ ನಿಮಗೆ ಒಂದೇ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಥವಾ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ಸ್ ಬೇರೆ ಯಾವುದೂ ಇಲ್ಲ, yes, there are no possible goals, yes, ಅಲ್ಲಿ possible course of action illade idre, then there is no need for planning because there is no choice. So the need for planning arises only when the alternatives are available. So yavaga alternatives ide, so when there is alternative, yavaga alternatives ide, aವಾಗ ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ನೀವು ಪ್ಲಾನಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. So in the actual practice, planning, it presupposes the existence of alternatives. It presupposes the existence of alternatives. This involves thorough examination and evaluation of each alternative and choosing most appropriate one. So when you have alternative, then there is a requirement of planning. When there is no alternatives, then there is no requirement of deciding or selecting one best way or one best method or anything. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ್ದು ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ಲ್ಯಾನ್ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ. ಯಾವಾಗ ಆಲ್ಟರ್ನೇಟಿವ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಗೋ ಆನ್ ವಿತ್ ಥರೋ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿನೇಷನ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಯೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಈಚ್ ಆಲ್ಟರ್ನೇಟಿವ್ ಅವೈಲೇಬಲ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಚೂಸ್ ದ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಅಪ್ರೋಪ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಒನ್ ವಿಚ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ಫುಲ್ ಟು ದಿ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್. The last one is planning is a mental exercise. Planning is a mental exercise. Seventh one is planning is a mental exercise. So planning requires application of mind involving foresight, intelligent imagination and sound judgment. Planning requires application of mind involving foresight, intelligent imagination and sound judgment. Yes, there has to be a certain amount of ಮೆಂಟಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸಸೈಸ್. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫೋರ್ಸೈಟ್ ಇರಬೇಕು, ಇಂಟೆಲಿಜೆಂಟ್ ಇಮ್ಯಾಜಿನೇಷನ್ ಇರಬೇಕು ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸೌಂಡ್ ಜಡ್ಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಸೊ ಇಫ್ ಅ ಪರ್ಸನ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜರ್ ಡಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಅ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ ಜಡ್ಜಿಂಗ್ ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟಿ, then the planning will not go on in a proper manner. Or if the person does not have an intelligent imagination regarding what can happen or what may happen in the future, then the planning, there are chances that they may go wrong. Okay, so it is basically an intellectual activity of thinking rather than doing. So planning ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವೇನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಿಂತ you have to think about what is that we are going to do. Yes, so the reason why it is said that it is an intellectual activity of thinking rather than doing that is because planning determines the actions to be taken. Planning, it determines the actions to be taken. So however, planning requires logical and systematic thinking rather than guesswork. So planning, it requires logical and systematic thinking. There has to be some logic while a person or a manager plans in the organization. ಅವ್ರು ಏನು ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅದು ಲಾಜಿಕಲ್ ಆಗಿರಬೇಕು. There has to be a logic and it should be a systematic thinking. So the guesswork will not work efficiently in the organization. Why? Because sometimes the work may go wrong. Yes, there are chances that the work may go wrong. So the person who's the manager should have a clear cut idea regarding what he has to go or what he has to do in the organization. Yes, it requires logical and systematic thinking. Yes, so thinking for planning must be orderly and based on analysis of facts and focus. Thinking for planning must be orderly and based on analyzing of facts and focus. So you can't think anything on your own, like ಒಂದೇ ಸಾರಿಗೆ ನೀವು you can't get into a conclusion. So planning should be orderly and it should be based on the analysis and facts. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ, ಅನಾಲಿಸಿಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ, ಫೋರ್ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಏನಿದೆ, ಅದರ ಮೇಲೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ನೀವು ಪ್ಲಾನಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವೈ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಸೆಡ್ ದಟ್ ಪ್ಲಾನಿಂಗ್ ಮಸ್ಟ್ ಬಿ ಆರ್ಡರ್ಲಿ and based on the analysis of facts and forecast. So planning should be made on the basis of facts. Yes, you have to analyze the fact. Yes, you have to know about the forecast and then proper planning has to be made according to that.